Hello everyone, Reza here. In this video, we will learn how to build autonomous agents in Microsoft Copilot Studio step by step. From adding knowledge to tools to triggers to formulating instructions to enabling generative orchestration and a lot more. This video has it all covered. So let's begin. Scenario is, I have a shared mailbox called customer care. This is where customers send emails with requests for support. Requests that can include complaints, requests for status of their orders, inquiries about products, and more. Imagine a scenario where we receive hundreds and thousands of emails. These emails need to be monitored based on the customer requests. We need to look at our data source and provide the responses. We have a products table that has all our product information. We have a customer table that has the customer information. We have a purchase table that has the order information. And we have a customer feedback table where if the email includes any feedback or complaints that customers have provided, that information needs to be entered here. Now, all of this can be done manually. However, how can I scale this? How can I use agents in Microsoft Copilot Studio and go one better, have an agent that can monitor this mailbox and self-serve autonomously? Let's begin creating this agent step by step. In Copilot Studio, I'll first describe what I would like my agent to do. You need to completely automate the customer care email auto reply process. I'll hit submit, and Copilot will work with me to start framing my agent needs. It says, let's determine a name for my agent. How about customer care autoresponder? Does that work for you? I will say yes. Next, let's define what the agent should do. What tasks should the agent perform? So I will say, as soon as a new email comes with a request, I want my agent to take certain actions. Next, let's refine the guidelines for this agent. I will say maintain a polite and professional tone. Now it says, do you want to add any public knowledge sources? I will say not at the moment. Do you have any more modifications? I don't. I'm ready to create my agent. Right before creating, I'll head over to the ellipses and go to advanced settings. By default, when you create agents, they get created in the common data services default solution. As a best practice, always create your agent in a custom solution. Save. I'm ready to create my agent. I'll say create. This will lead us to the agent overview page. Here's the name and description for our agent. Orchestration. Agents in Copilot Studio can use generative AI to determine how best to respond to users and events. This is known as generative orchestration, wherein the agent can do things for us based upon the instructions that we provide. Let's go ahead and turn generative orchestration on. Also, let's go to the ellipses and edit. Use GenAI orchestration for agent responses. I'll say yes. So responses will be dynamic, using available tools and knowledge that we will be providing to our agent shortly. Deep reasoning, which enables advanced reasoning for AI actions. This I have turned on for my agent. There are other settings here that you can explore. I'll highlight one important one here, which is the agent comes baked in with general knowledge. You can decide whether you want your agent to utilize that knowledge. In my case, I'm going to keep it on and I will save. Changes are saved. I'll close this. Back to my agent overview. Gen orchestration is on. Now for my agent to respond to customer queries, knowledge is where I can provide data, files, and other resources so my agent can be grounded in that knowledge so it can respond to user queries. I'll click on Add Knowledge. Here you can bring in data from public websites, SharePoint sites, includes pages, document libraries, folders, even SharePoint lists, and many other sources. In my case, I'll pick Dataverse. I have multiple tables. You can even search. So I have my product table. I'll select. That has all the details about my products. Customer has all the information about customers. And then purchase has all purchase order information. Now, as I'm selecting these tables, I can also preview to see the data coming in from that table. I'll go ahead and click Add to Agent. So this will now add these tables from Dataverse as knowledge to my agent. On the right-hand side, we can test the agent. So let's try it out. I'll say list all products greater than $300. Now at this point, because Gen orchestration is turned on and my agent is grounded with knowledge, you can see how the agent starts using those knowledge sources to help provide the responses. What is the status of order 1004? Once again, Gen orchestration in effect. The activity map shows the actions the agent is taking. Right now it's searching my knowledge sources. Order number 1004 that exists in the purchase table, the status is completed. Let's go back to overview. I can also upload files here. I have a PDF file called Customer Problems and Solutions. In the description, I'll say this knowledge source includes common customer problems and solutions based on products offered. I'll add this to the agent. This is that PDF file. In here, for each of the products that my organization offers, I have listed out some common problems and solutions. So I've uploaded this file as knowledge to the agent. So let's take an example here. My product air fryer, if there is any unusual noise, it's a common problem. So the solution is ensure the appliance is on a stable surface and not overloaded. Right now, the upload process is ongoing. All right. The knowledge is ready. Let's test this out. I'm saying the air fryer is making a lot of noise. Gen orchestration kicks in. Here's the activity map. It goes, looks at the knowledge sources, and there, it's gone ahead and grabbed the information. This knowledge, it has obtained from my PDF document that I uploaded. So knowledge added to my agent. My agent is able to respond to user queries. But how do I make this agent autonomous? For that, we need to add triggers. So let's go ahead and add a trigger for this agent. You can trigger the agent based on a schedule that you define. You can trigger the agent when an event takes place. For example, when an item is created in a SharePoint list, or when a row is added in a Dataverse table. If we head over to all, there are various triggers that we can take advantage of. In my case, the emails that are coming are in a shared mailbox. So I need to trigger my agent when a new email arrives in this mailbox called customer care. Please note, this is a shared mailbox that has send on behalf of permission configured for my account. I am the one creating this agent. I'll search for shared mailbox, and here is a trigger that says when a new email arrives in a shared mailbox. I'll select this, hit next. Trigger name, when a new email arrives in a shared mailbox. I can update this. Customer care shared mailbox. Here, two connections will be created. Both of these connections are under my account. I'll click next. Here, it's asking for the original mailbox address. That's my customer care. And then in the instructions to the agent, it says use content from the body of the email. Now I'll click create trigger. And this now starts creating the flow. And now it will add that trigger to the agent. That's done. Your trigger was successfully added. Time to test it. Trigger is when a new email arrives in customer care shared mailbox. Now, if I select this, this will lead us to power automate and showcase our agent flow. Here's the agent flow. When a new email arrives in the shared mailbox, go ahead and call our agent. That's the name of our agent. And when you call the agent, send the following message, use content from body. That's the body of the email. Now here, you're free to add additional information. For example, I would also like to pass the subject of the email. So subject, body, and then I'll also say customer email is here. I'll pick the from address of the user who sent the email. I'll go ahead and publish this. The agent flow is ready to go. Back to my agent. The trigger is set, so this agent can be called autonomously. It will query the knowledge sources, but I want the agent to take an action. I want the agent to send an email to that user. And for that, we have tools. Tools is what empowers our agent to complete specific tasks. Let's go and add a tool. In tools, we have our entire Power Platform connector ecosystem available. We have connectors. We can call flows. We can call AI prompts. We can call the model context protocol. Extremely powerful. In our case, it's a shared mailbox. So I'll search for shared mailbox. One of the tasks that we can perform is sending an email from a shared mailbox. I'll select this. Notice it's using my connection, and I have send on behalf of access granted on that shared mailbox. I'll click add and configure. We can let Gen Orchestration dynamically define what needs to be done when it is sending the email. The name of this tool is send an email from a shared mailbox. I can change this to send an email to customer. In the description, I'll say this operation sends an email response to the customer. It's using my connection. I'll go to additional details. Authentication, have end users sign in using their own credentials. In this case, I'll say no, pass through tool using owner's credentials, meaning my credentials. Original mailbox address. Gen orchestration is on. This data can be dynamically filled by AI, or in this case, I know the mailbox address. Why not enter the custom value directly here? So I'll plug in my customer care shared mailbox address. 2, I'll let AI dynamically fill this. I can also customize and give a good description here. This gives better context to our agent. For example, here I'll say customer email address. I can do the same for subject and body. I'll go ahead and click save. I'll click back. So my tool is here, added, available to this agent. Let's go back to overview. Here's my tool. Send an email to the customer. Trigger is ready. The tool is ready. Knowledge is ready. Instructions. This is extremely important. I've gone ahead and updated the instructions. I've said you need to completely automate the customer care email auto reply process. As soon as a new email comes with request to check the order status or a complaint feedback is shared or any other customer query, you will need to call below actions without any human interactions. If complaint about a product, always check the internal knowledge base and provide resolution to customer. My knowledge base is called customer problems and solutions.pdf. So let me give that context right here to my agent. If the email is asking for order status, use the order number from the email, check the purchase table, and then share the status of the order in the reply email. If the customer is asking for details on products we offer, then use the product knowledge base. Draft a new email response using the send an email to customer action. Now these tools that we have here, I can also put a slash and pick that tool, draft a new email response using this action. Always use HTML format and all emails should look professional. And I'm ending with do not include any citations in email. For example, when it provides responses, it also includes citations of the references that it's used. I'll save my instructions. Let's publish. I'm creating a new email acting as a customer. I'll send the email to customer care. I'm asking for product details in the electronics category that are being offered. I'll hit send. Email has been sent. Once the agent flow triggers, autonomously, it will call my agent. And to see the activity of the agent, we have an activity tab. Here, we can see every activity that has taken place. There were 2 activities that I did when testing the agent. Now, once the flow triggers, here we go, automated. The agent is being triggered autonomously by the agent flow. Let's select this. Here we can see details of what the agent has done. Gen orchestration. When a new email arrives, it triggered the agent. We can also see the rationale, which helps us understand why the agent took these steps. The agent then used its knowledge sources. Let's look at the rationale behind this. Identify the customer's request for details on electronic products. Gather information on the available electronic products. Compile and send the product details to the customer's email. It's gone ahead and searched the knowledge sources that we've provided it. And then it's gone ahead and sent an email back to the customer using the tool that we provided. Let's check the email that the customer received. The shared mailbox is responding back to the customer. Thank you for reaching out to us. Below are the details of the electronic products that we offer. Let's try another one. Can you please check the status of order 1002? The request has gone out. Let's refresh. There we go. Here is the response the customer receives. The status of order 1002 is active. And this is Gen orchestration. As users ask questions to the agent is able to respond to customer queries. Here's another one. The 4K monitor I purchased is constantly overheating. And here is the response. This is based on that document knowledge that I provided to my agent. Let's level up. If the customer is complaining or providing some form of feedback, I have this table called customer feedbacks where I would like to log that information. And whenever a feedback is created, my system automatically generates a feedback ID. I want to send that feedback ID to the customer so they can keep it for reference. Once again, I want my agent to do a task. So where do I go? Tools. Add tool. This time I want to add a row to a table. That's my customer feedback table in Microsoft Dataverse. Let's add and configure this action. It's adding the tool. The name for this one, I'll say add customer feedback. Create a new row based on details obtained from the email. Once again, additional details, the authentication. I'll use the owner's authentication. That's mine. Environment. Which environment is this table in? I'll go to custom value and pick the environment where my tables live. My case, dev training. Table name, customer feedback. I'll add input, customer email, add input, product info, add input, customer feedback. These I'll let AI fill dynamically. But let's give it some instructions. Customize. Customer email. From email address of customer. Product info. Product name from email subject or body. And then customer feedback. I'll say customer feedback in the email body. Done. Save. Back to overview. I need to update my instructions. So let's do that. Here I'll say for any complaints or feedback, I'll put a slash and pick the add customer feedback tool now that is added in my agent. So for any complaints or feedback, use that to log the customer feedback. Make sure to include feedback ID in outgoing email for customer reference. I'll click save. Let's try it out. Customer sending an email to customer care. The 4K monitor I purchased is overheating. My order number is 1000. Please look into the matter ASAP. Email sent. The customer in this case has sent an email complaining. The agent has triggered autonomously. Notice it has taken 3 steps this time. So it's taken an extra step here, which is the step of adding the feedback because it has observed that the customer is providing feedback here or complaining in this case. So it's done that. It searched the knowledge sources as well and then responded. Here's the response that went back. If we look at customer feedback, now we have a new feedback that just got recorded. And this based on the feedback shared in that email. And notice here I'm asking a query. Give me price for air fryer. This is not a complaint. The agent has triggered. You can see 2 steps executed. It did not execute the add feedback action. Gen orchestration power. And here is the response back to the user with the price of that product. If you enjoyed this video, then do like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you so much for watching.